Imagine sitting in a crowded room late at night, the lights dim, the tension thick, your eyes glued to the television. 90 minutes slowly tick away. Your heart beats faster with every pass, every tackle, every shot. When your team scores, you jump, scream, maybe even hug strangers. But when the final whistle blows and your team loses, something strange happens. The room becomes silent. Your chest feels heavy. Your mood collapses. For some fans, the feeling lingers for hours, sometimes even days. And the strange part is this: you were never on the pitch. You didn't kick the ball. You didn't make the mistake that caused the goal. Yet the pain feels personal, almost as if you were the one who lost. So, why does this happen? Why can millions of people around the world feel genuine emotional pain because a football team loses a match? To understand this strange psychological phenomenon, we need to explore something far deeper than sports. We need to explore identity, belonging, tribal instincts, and the powerful emotional bonds that connect fans to clubs. Because when a fan watches a match in competitions like the Premier League or the UEFA Champions League, something fascinating happens inside the human brain. The team slowly stops being just a team and starts becoming part of the fan's identity. Psychologists call this phenomenon identity fusion. It means the boundary between me and my group begins to blur. When a fan says we won or we lost, they're not just speaking metaphorically. In their mind, the team represents something deeply personal: their city, their childhood memories, their friends, their family traditions, and sometimes even their sense of pride. For example, a supporter of Manchester United in India might wake up at 1 a.m. to watch a match, wearing the jersey, sharing excitement with fans online. Over time, that club becomes part of their life story. And when that story suffers a defeat, the brain reacts emotionally as if a personal setback occurred. Neuroscientists have actually studied this effect using brain scans. When fans watch their team score, the brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with pleasure, reward, and excitement. But when their team loses, stress hormones like cortisol rise, triggering disappointment, frustration, and sometimes even anger. In other words, the brain processes the result of a football match in a way that resembles real-life wins and losses. But the psychology goes even deeper. Humans evolved as tribal creatures for thousands of years. Survival depended on belonging to a group, a tribe that provided protection, identity, and shared goals. Football clubs have become modern tribes. The colors, the chants, the logos, the rivalries, all of these things mimic ancient tribal behavior. When fans wear a club's jersey or sing chants in a stadium, they are participating in rituals that strengthen group identity. And like any tribe, loyalty becomes powerful. When the tribe succeeds, members feel pride. When the tribe fails, members feel collective pain. This is why rivalries in football feel so intense. When FC Barcelona faces Real Madrid, it's not just a game. For many fans, it represents history, politics, and cultural pride. Losing that match doesn't just mean losing 3 points. It feels like losing a symbolic battle for identity. The emotional stakes become enormous. But there's another psychological mechanism at work called Berging and Korfing. Berg stands for basking in reflected glory. When a team wins, fans associate themselves with the victory. They say we won. They wear jerseys proudly. They celebrate publicly. It boosts their self-esteem. CORF stands for cutting off reflected failure. When teams lose, some fans distance themselves emotionally, saying they played badly. But die-hard supporters often struggle to do this. Instead of distancing themselves, they absorb the loss emotionally, which explains why the pain can feel so intense. Interestingly, studies show that loyal fans often experience stronger emotional swings than casual viewers. A neutral viewer might simply say, "That was a good match," but a devoted supporter might feel genuine heartbreak. The deeper the loyalty, the stronger the emotional impact. And modern football has amplified this emotional connection in powerful ways. Social media, 24-hour sports news, highlight reels, and online fan communities mean supporters are constantly immersed in their club's narrative. A single defeat can dominate conversations for days. Fans analyze mistakes, argue about tactics, debate refereeing decisions, and relive the moment the game slipped away. This constant engagement keeps the emotional wound open longer. There's also the element of expectation. Clubs with legendary histories like Manchester United or Real Madrid carry enormous expectations from their supporters. Fans are not just hoping for wins. They feel entitled to them because of the club's legacy. When defeat happens, it clashes with those expectations, making the disappointment even sharper. But perhaps the most powerful reason fans feel pain when their team loses is because football creates emotional investment over time. Think about the memories tied to a club. Watching matches with family members, celebrating historic victories, experiencing dramatic comebacks, or witnessing legendary players score unforgettable goals. These memories build an emotional archive that connects a fan's life to the club's journey. So when the team loses, it feels like a chapter in that personal story went wrong. The emotional bond becomes so strong that even fans thousands of kilometers away feel connected. A supporter in India may feel a deep attachment to Old Trafford or Camp Nou simply because of years spent watching matches and sharing emotional moments with other fans. Geography becomes irrelevant. Emotional connection becomes everything. And here's something even more fascinating. Sports psychologists have found that shared suffering can actually strengthen fan loyalty. When fans endure painful defeats together, the collective experience reinforces group identity. It creates a sense of resilience, the feeling that we will come back stronger. This is why many of the most passionate fan bases belong to clubs that have experienced dramatic ups and downs. The pain of defeat becomes part of the story. It creates emotional drama that keeps fans invested. Think about famous comebacks, last-minute goals, and unexpected underdog victories. These moments feel magical precisely because fans have experienced the pain of loss before. Without the possibility of heartbreak, the joy of victory would not feel as powerful. Emotion is what makes sport meaningful. In fact, many fans subconsciously seek this emotional roller coaster. The tension, the uncertainty, the thrill, and even the heartbreak all combine to create an experience that feels real and intense. In a world where many daily routines feel predictable, football becomes a stage for emotional storytelling, heroes, villains, redemption arcs, and dramatic endings. And fans become characters in that story. Their loyalty, their passion, their reactions all become part of the spectacle. This is why stadiums erupt with chants even after defeats. It's a declaration of identity. Win or lose, the tribe remains together. So the next time you see a fan looking devastated after their team loses, remember that what you're witnessing isn't just disappointment over a game. It's the emotional collision between identity, loyalty, tribal instincts, and years of psychological investment. The brain isn't simply processing a sports result. It's processing a symbolic event tied to belonging and pride. And perhaps that's the real secret behind football's global power. It transforms a simple game into something deeply human. A shared emotional journey where millions of people experience joy, hope, frustration, and heartbreak together. In a world that often feels disconnected, football gives people something to believe in, something to argue about, something to celebrate, and sometimes something to mourn. And that's why when the final whistle blows and the scoreboard shows defeat, the pain feels real. Because in the mind of a true fan, the team isn't just playing for points. It's playing for identity, pride, memory, and belonging. And when those things feel threatened, the heart reacts exactly the way it would if something personal had been lost.